Oh. Yep. Okay, good. Wanted to make sure my audio wasn't like all different.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Hello.
Is that the Nerf gun strapped to your leg? This.
There we go. And there you go, you saw the collision avoidance system activating again. But if I hit the water too hard, you'll see this big red sphere comes up, and this now startles the rays, and it causes them to move away. And this was something that I wanted to use to increase people's immersion and to reward the people who came up to this and treated this as if it were a real object. You know, because typically if you come to a touch tank, unless you're a violent kid, you're not going to be slamming your hand into the water to attract the animals. So I wanted to have a relatively nice behavior there. Okay, I think that is most of what I wanted to show off for this. When we do the world tour, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions about how the actual underlying system works, or indeed after I'm done with the presentation. But I want to hand over a little bit now to Electrospy and Mars Manchi, who, well, really put together the system that allows for this water tapping audio and water tapping events to happen. So I'm going to hide the touch tank for now. And shall I bring back the stage, guys?
Yeah, I would say so.
Bring back
the stage.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I'm not standing in it when it appears.
Yes, I should move it too.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got the stage. Nice. So yeah, Mars and Electra, do you want to talk now about a bit about the kind of audio and contact-based touched technology that we perfected in Deep Dreams, but has long roots stretching back quite a way, right?
It has quite the history, yes.
Yeah, it has such a history. Obviously, we didn't use the really old system from back then, because we still wanted to keep it in the spirit of the MMC, actually making things from the ground up, making it usable and instead of competition. But we're gonna bring up one of the very first prototypes from, at this point, over 2 years ago, which started this whole endeavor of making collision interaction things. The original idea back then was making a breakable window, but as you can already see, this is not really reliable. And one of the things, yeah, we also saw back then is this was way too heavy. Having one window and all, but yeah, there's also no positional audio. The in-between frame tracking was really inaccurate. So sometimes you would get like itching in between the frames. It would just trigger just by passing it, but just gently touching it. So it was not really reliable, but it was fun to mess around with. But at that point, not usable. So we came up with a little bit more creative idea later down the line and brought up Gen 2. Some people might already have seen this out in the wild, sometimes been distributed. The main difference here is this one is not using colliders. Instead, it's using like these tracking spheres. And it's actually checking the distance between the dots. And if you get close enough, then it triggers the sound.
Someone have just raise off what it is.
Harder, it gets louder.
The dots are local, so they won't show up on camera.
Yeah. So there's also the first system which introduced interaction for full body tracking. So if you would keep break and grab your feet and just go like this, you can now also kick the thing. Which I guess was a good and a bad decision at the same time, because now people started to put it up onto the mirrors in their worlds, and you could just constantly see them kicking the thing, bashing their head into that. Colliders, kind of laughed in.
Yeah, I find it amazing how as soon as you put, as Probable Prime called it, donkable glass into a world, just the first thing everyone wants to do is to smash their head into it. I love how this is not an interaction anyone would ever do well, I assume most people wouldn't do in real life, but as soon as you put people in VR, they start behaving in totally different ways. It's quite an interesting thing to observe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the system you're showing off here, again, like the performance of this does not scale particularly well if you're having it in worlds. And I think this was the version we had in our MMC Metaverse Maker Competition, 2021 world, which we used for doing splashing audio in the river. And then the year after in Lotus Bay, we kind of had a breakthrough. Right?
Yeah. We had a breakthrough, thanks to Frooks adding another small little thing, which, does it show up? No, it doesn't show up. Come on, Mars, you got the prototype? Oh no.
I'm not sure the audio is coming through on the stream, but I assure everybody there is breaking glass happening. We're not totally crazy.
Okay.
I'm actually currently baffled why it's not showing the search then. So,
well, it's easy enough to set up. So
Exactly.
might as well show that.
Want to do that?
Yeah. While you talk about it, I'll just set one up.
So one of the major differences with this system is we did actually go back to it being collider based instead of just tracking points, which constantly need to be updated every single frame. But this one not really uses the native physics colliders. Instead, in the meantime, Fuchs added something nice for things like haptic vests for interactions with that, so you could actually feel tension of that. And we did take a look at the tech under the hood and we're like, wait a second, this is still collider based, but it's not running on the physical layer, it's running on the haptics layer, which is completely unobscured by the main process, which means it was really efficient. So we did a little bit of prototyping, and after a lot of tinkering and figuring out what things we need to do there, we got it to work. And we spawned a bunch of these test cubes around the world just to see how it was impacting performance, and there was almost virtual no impact at all. You just have the one-time initial loading for 1 second or so there, but after that, it just runs in the background, is not affecting anyone anymore. And since most of the logic is just locally running on yourself, on the avatar, no one else is also affected by that. But since you're sending an impulse, if you're colliding,
almost.
Almost.
Well, Electro, do you want to show the tracking colliders or the
No.
tracking points?
Oh yeah.
Can't.
Oh, what? Your hands are out in space for some reason.
There we go.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Let's go with
It works
Mars.
now. So.
Yep.
When to track the user in the haptics layer, we have to parent our own spheres to the avatar, which you can see with these spheres. They have trigger colliders on the haptics layer, which is completely separate from the normal one, as Electro explained. And as soon as this sphere touches any other collider that is correctly set up with the audio interaction, which is very simple to do, I just did it in 2 minutes, it works. So now as soon as I hit an object, the sound gets...
it plays.
It plays.
And yeah, to emphasize, these are extremely spammable. Like, you can put these all over the place in your world, and performance-wise, it's totally fine. We had tons of them all over the place in Lotus Bay, our world last year. We've got them all over the glass. We've got them in the pool. There are many more places we plan to add them in in Deep Dreams as well. So if you're using any older contact audio systems, talk to us and just make sure that you're using these ones, because if you're not using these ones, you may well see a significant performance boost.
One other very nice thing about these colliders is that they still have support for mesh colliders for triggers. So instead of only being limited to the primitive colliders like boxes or spheres, you can actually have like the entire world mesh be one collider, and then any part you hit on the world mesh works with like, for example, the glass hit or the water.
Yes, there's no need.
It gives you more freedom for what is actually interactable.
Yeah. It's way more helpful instead of having a bunch of boxes just making like a round shape. If it's like a hollow interior or just having some walls there, you just take the mesh, set it up, put two things on it, and it works.
So apparently the audio is quite low. The volume is really low. So maybe if we, I can tell you what. Let's just take the box into the audience. Here you go. We can do an audience interactivity bit. Come on, everyone. Come on. If you don't believe us, come and smack the box. There you go. Give it a good hit. Yeah, smack your head into it, kick it, punch it. Enjoy abusing the box. Yeah, these are good as a replacement for stress balls. We haven't really figured those out in VR yet, but these kind of do the trick.
Well, we know the sound works.
Yep. Okay. So I'm glad that everyone now believes this, that the sound does indeed work. Cool.
That's the one.
Yeah. Now, in addition to playing audio, we get a couple of bits of information about the contact, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we still have some of the old features from the previous version of this, which is where you're hitting the thing and how fast you're going. But thanks to the small changes Zyval did to that, we can also now trigger another action with this action. And in the case of the touch tank, if you bang in the water, as we have seen, you can now trigger the system for the fishes, the creatures, and all of that coming towards you. That was definitely not possible with the previous one. We also did some prototyping with the water surface in the pool setup, because at that point, thanks to Sizewell, I got the idea, wait a second, if we can trigger other systems with this, like having creatures come to you, how about spawning particles? So that's when we brought in like the water rings on the splashing. And yeah, we're probably also gonna iterate on this idea further down the line, but at least for now, it's a nice addition we were not able to do previously. And the cool thing about this is still both systems are completely unindependent. So even if you update one or the other, you will not affect the previous version or break anything in the meantime. You can just swap them out and go about your life after that without having anything break previously. That's really nice.
Yeah, and the final point to mention is, as I mentioned previously when I was doing the tank, the touch tank, you get different responses out of the animals depending on how hard you hit the water. And this is enabled by this system giving you an estimate of the speed when you hit the object, which is how you can play. As you're all smacking it, you're probably mostly hearing the loud audio, but if you give it a gentle tap, you will just hear a gentle tap audio instead, if you set it up like that. I think, shall we move from contact-based to volume-based audio?
Yeah, exactly. There was another big thing we also did for the world. So having a nice visually pleasing world and having some interactions is obviously fun and all, but if you're going through the rooms to the outside area and you're not hearing anything, this is, like Alexis put it, not really immersive. It's not like making you believe you're there. So one of the things we also worked on some of the previous MNCs around, which was also yet again Lotus Bay, was a so-called soundscape system. The way you set it up is actually pretty easy. You get this handy little tooltip, and you can go to the zone menu, add a new zone, and now you have this cube. This is your tracking space for your sound setup. So one thing we can do with this, for example, is let's just make it really big for testing purposes. And I think most of you should be in the zone.
Yeah, I think you got everyone.
Okay, so having a tracking space and all is really neat, but this one has another twist to it. You don't need an inspector to set up these sound effects. So if you bring up the menu again, you can now just click Add Sound Source, which gives you this small dandy speaker, and if you click it, it brings up this settings panel. And what this allows you now to do, if I would not deselect it, is if you got some sound clips, for example, in let's see, in your inventory ready. What some people tend to do is literally just bring out these sound clips and set them to broadcast, but that's not really a nice thing to go about things. So we can open up the menu again, just grab the audio clip, put it in here, and as you can hear now, it's positional, but we now have these nice little sliders here, and let me turn down the volume just for safety reasons. We can now make it non-spatial, bring the blend back, and now we got like nice background wind in this area.
Which of course doesn't make much sense because we're indoors, but it doesn't matter. You can set up different zones around the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And the neat thing about this is, yet again, there's no need to just have one big cube which might be intersecting with other parts of the map. So you can just bring up the menu again and add another box. And this allows you to set up multiple smaller rooms, do some uneven shapes and similar things. And you can just go between them, have multiple zones just really close to each other without any interference. And yet again, it makes it really easy to edit, just move them around. And if you're done with the basic setup, you can just go to toggle visibility, and the system is set up, and you're good to go. Should we also talk about us play one-shots Mars?
Or No.
Well, I think,
so.
fundamentally, the point is
Yeah.
you can use it for looped audio clips, like long ambient ones like that, or you can also use it. So you set up this volume space, and you can just do like one-off audio clips as well. There's no requirement for it to be a long ambient thing. It can be used for sound effects too, basically.
Exactly. There's also some randomization. You can give it like different speeds in between delay times and similar things. So this makes it really easy to set up. And if you just want to reuse audio clips, you can just duplicate it, move it somewhere else, and you're also done.
I guess it might be worth it to explain why why the system is needed for like spatial positional audio. Why not put a sound source everywhere? Why would you put those in the source as well?
Yet again, technical limitations. So, especially in Unity, the other game engines, there's a certain amount of audio clips you can play at the same time. So, of course, you just don't want to have all the audio clips active at all places in the world, even if you can hear them. So they're constantly filling up your audio buffer in the background. So that's the reason why I want to set it up like that. That's one of the things you can't do with the native audio players. And it also doesn't allow you to isolate rooms from each other, which makes it really handy, yet again, to have, of course. The other problem with the default audio player is it's always on the same priority, which is 128 or so. And yet again, you can only have a certain amount of audio clips playing with the same priority.
You can find armor. Again. Did someone join? Yeah. 2 other people joined. Hello, other people. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the village.
Who else did join?
Should we stop the Discord's type communication? Maybe
it's gonna be fine, I think.
Well, okay. If
I hope
the others don't mind, we're just going to continue to talk.
If not, you can hear us. Just do the broadcast too, and then you can tell us.
Maybe you can just mute us.
Or just mute us. Yeah, also works.
Okay, so in here, like the dojo guy, he tells you go to the town and get equipment or something. Maybe more armor. So we go to the town. This was not supposed to be this bumpy. It was supposed to be like in VRChat. It was much more, smoother. And in here, you go to the armor guy. He makes you armor, or gives you armor.
Mhm.
Oh, you
1
want to try the
second.
bed? The buggy bed.
I mean, it's fine in Neos. I don't know what's VRChat's problem.
But I think the whole export of this house. I think it's just like one mesh, or
Oh. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's one mesh with the whole house.
yeah. In the near future, I'm going to. That's
Nope, recalculating doesn't work.
In the near future, I'm going to start to re-import stuff and just make them a bit more usable. Because most of the stuff here is just like single
what
mesh.
you can do in Neos, which you can't do in VRChat, or you can probably do it in Unity, is like build it out of single meshes and then just kind of bake it into one single mesh. So that's what you can do. So like don't worry about performance. You can do it in small meshes just to build it, and then if you release it, you can just bake it into one single mesh, so it's still performant.
Okay. Can you say again? Hatsune Miku. Yeah, one of the people who helped me at first just gave me a huge folder with lots of avatars. Oh yeah. So yeah. Okay, let's continue. Maybe. Yes, I've been working on it for a couple of years. You're welcome to look around and, I don't know, ask questions or add suggestions. I don't know. I am afraid.
We talked about that, right? Like literally this one mesh, we talked about it.
Mm-hmm. I kind of fixed the castle. It's not all that floating now. But yeah.
Where's the gizmo though? Yeah, I don't see the gizmo. Oh, I know where the gizmo is, probably. Wait, where? Why is it a black outline though? What?
It's just a bad mesh. I'm pretty sure I just joined all of the meshes into one in Blender. Yeah, it's just a single palette. It doesn't even have textures. I tried to do texture. But it took me a lot of time. Hello?
Are they?
That's a lot of objects. A lot of objects.
Wrong. Are they all using separate mesh renderers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Looks
a problem. That's probably a major problem, realistically.
I mean, honestly, I'm doing way better than in VRChat, so I don't know what VRChat's doing wrong, but
EXE.
It's just we can just do minus 0.1, minus 0.5, 3.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, that's fine.
You exist. Yes, you exist. Hi.
Oh, I also got this. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot how to use it, but I know it.
Yeah, I don't. Isn't it like a tool you equip?
Yeah, I think you need to.
Good luck.
No. I have no idea. I don't know. That's the thing, like someone showed me it and he showed me how to use it, but I just forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I have it on my favorites too, but no idea.
This heatsink is kind of disproportionate. So maybe I'm just too.
Yeah, I mean, we can also fix that.
Okay,
the answer to every problem in Neos is we can fix that.
we can what?
We can fix that.
We can fix that. Oh my, yeah. Okay, you see this? Fix this. How do I fix this? It's
what?
It's as well like normal.
Oh. Why do you have so many normal issues?
I don't know. I'm actually a noob. I'm just the burn.
Okay, so it is that.
Put stuff